Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Boxing, Weights and Rugby YouTube channel. Let's talk rugby. So ladies and gentlemen, this evening we're going to go through the highlights from the England-Scotland game last weekend. We're going to look forward towards Scotland versus Wales as well as briefly touch on the Ireland versus France game. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to look through some specific highlights from last week that I've identified. I'm just going to walk them through bit by bit to see if we can glean any further insight as to what we can look forward to from both teams. The first try we're going to have a look at here is the one scored by Scotland's Tuipulotu. The specifically interesting part of this here is the deftness at which Tuipulotu was able to put the boot onto the ball. Okay, if you can see here, Ben White passes the ball out slowly from the back, and he skips across all the way to Tuipulotu. Now, England think because Tuipulotu is a large centre that he will be an easy target to charge up to. But because of the skills that Tuipulotu has gradually developed over his time in Glasgow, he's able to put Hugh Jones through for the first try. The second one we're going to have a look at, ladies and gentlemen, is the first England try. And this is a particularly interesting one. So the build-up phase for this is really, really good, okay? And then they get to the point where what England have managed to do is condense the whole of the Scotland pack into the centre of the field. So that when Smith gets the ball out the back, he's able to then look up and see that Malins is wide as Duhan van der Merwe has had to step in, okay? The quickest and easiest way to do this is to kick across, okay? Unfortunately now, fortunately, Smith very slightly over-eggs the kick in front of Malins. But if we look at the way that Malins finishes, it is absolutely textbook. Rather than trying to grab it and ground it, what he does is he uses his entire torso to press over the ball, which allows him to give the controlled downward pressure, which again gives us the try. And the one we're all looking forward to, the one that we all want to see. I'm not going to add anything to this. I think you just want to have a little look and we can sit back and watch this try as many times as we want. Duhan van der Merwe giving us one of those moments that will live on forever, one of those moments we'll talk about in the pub, at home, anytime the game goes on, one of those tries you'll see forever and one of the reasons we all love rugby. Let's have a look at that try.
Quick sets at scrum time, shot talks for penalties or conversions, and off! This time, go Scotland! Footwork from Duhan van der Merwe! This is astonishing! That is amazing!
So the next try we're going to go through, ladies and gentlemen, is a slightly longer phase, and I want to use this particular try to illustrate a point that I think has been going on in and around rugby. Okay, and this is the thing that Smith and Farrell cannot play 10 and 12 together. Now, you play Marcus Smith at 10, you can have two options. You can play Owen Farrell outside, or you can play with a very big centre, crash ball option. With Owen Farrell, you're able to build the game a little bit more around it, but I think what you can see with this England team is, in order for them to be the best team they could possibly be, okay, they can be very good with Smith at 10, they can be very good with Farrell at 10. You're going to have Smith and Farrell together, this England team can show exactly what it can do. Now, specifically what it then needs off it is two things. One, quick ball. Two, strike runners. And let's have a look at this play. So if we go from the start, you can see Farrell set Don Brandt across the game line. Okay, he presents back. And as the ball comes out wide, he passes it to Smith. Now Smith over-eggs the step, which is something we'll come on to later. But once again, look at the speed of the ball. Sinclair comes up, and the presentation is fantastic. That is the pass we're all looking at. It is the pass from Farrell into Don Brown, who once again gets England across the gain line. Now, Genge steps back into the boot there, gives it back to Ludlam, and then brings it wide, and Malin scores in the corner. It's the fact that they're able to hide players, giving them time in key positions, that gives them that try. Okay, the go-forward ball means that the Scotland defence is not able to set, which means it is not able to then press. When it's not able to press, England are then able to set the attack and go wide and score in the corner. Absolutely fantastic try. The next try we're going to have a look at is, again, another long phase play, and this shows exactly what Scotland are capable of. From the back, Finn brings it out to Kinghorn, who takes it wide, and Scotland immediately have exited the 22. Kinghorn then runs a great support line off Tuipulotu, and then giving it to Doohan, we end up with Doohan up at the halfway. Now immediately, ladies and gentlemen, Scotland are now in possession of the ball at halfway, having not returned it to England, looking to get back into the game. Now Finn Russell is in control and is able to get the ball wide, now that they've compressed the England defence, and Steyn is able to get up. And we're now at the 22. Again, look at the control of the phases. Finn back on the ball again, and this is a fabulous bit of work. The basic skills there are absolutely fantastic. Fraser Brown's pass out wide. Richie Gray gives absolutely no hesitation and simply flicking the pass out to Fagerson, who gives it to Doohan, and the finish from Doohan van der Merwe is utterly fantastic. An incredible try. One that won't be shown as much as the one that was scored earlier on in the game, but an utterly brilliant execution and exit from Scotland all the way up to the other end. And it's something that this Scotland team has not been known to do correctly. Very often Scotland from restarts or from the 22 make a mistake and end up giving out the ball in cheap positions. Not this version of the Scotland team. They're able to get it from the start all the way up to the other end. Now, this is an interesting particular bit, and I think this is an area that England can look to improve on. What we're looking at here is Van Portfleet, attacking or breaking around the side of a ruck. Stuart Hogg then does a fabulous job to scruff him. Now, they then bring it round the back. Smith then overplays his hand. The step here is too lateral, and it allows Tuipulotu, who knows the step is coming, to cover him wide. This then stops Merchant, who's on the outside, being a realistic option, and he's able to be bundled into touch. It's things like this that we're looking to improve on for England. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the major highlights that we have gone through for the England-Scotland game, and an utterly classic game from both teams. I think it was an interesting one. Obviously, if you lose the Calcutta Cup, it's very much a negative feeling. But that England side can take a lot of positives from that game. The major statistic that I think a lot of people saw for the England team was the ruck speed. A huge proportion of their ball was coming at under 3 seconds per ruck. And if they can continue doing that, and if you build the back line around the fact that you accept that Smith and Farrell playing 10 and 12, you need more strike runners, i.e. you need either a Ollie Lawrence or a Manu Tuolangi at 13, someone to punch up when things aren't going for you, and maybe another bigger winger on the outside. Malins himself was absolutely fantastic attackingly. It was a little short on the defensive side every now and again, but there's a lot of promise in there, and I think England was to get a few players back. You can see what they're going for. Very dynamic, very physically aggressive. Now, Scotland, on the other hand, are finally starting to play the brand of rugby that Gregor Townsend wanted. Okay, this was the brand of rugby that Gregor Townsend championed when he first arrived as the Scotland coach. We're finally getting to see it. And one of the major things to take away from this game is the 4.1 points per visit to the 22 from Scotland. This is an absolutely ridiculous statistic. I don't think Scotland have ever achieved anything close to this. This is something that New Zealand particularly are fantastic to do. They might not get to the 22 very often, but when they get there, they take points away, and that is absolutely crucial, and it's something they're going to need to maintain when Wales come to Murrayfield this weekend. If we now have a look at the Scotland team to play Wales, we can see it's very much a similar team to the team that played England. The only change is Xander Fragerson comes in at tight head. I think that's a very good decision. I think poor WP Nell has had to play 2 pretty much full games in the last couple of weeks and deserves the rest, and having Xander in at tight head will give us a lot more work around the park as well. Nell on the bench is a fantastic scrummaging option, and that now looks very, very solid. Short of Hamish Watson and Darcy Graham, this will be Scotland's strongest team at the minute, I think. Looking at the Wales team, there are some very interesting changes. One of the major ones is obviously the return of Adam Beard and Jenkins in at the second row, and no Alan Wynne-Jones. But the one that stands out is Jack Morgan moving to 8 and dropping Talupi Faletau to the bench. It's a younger, more dynamic looking back row, and I think this will be interesting to see basically the brand that Wales are going for. It's a really solid back line with a lot of players who've got a ton of caps for the British and Irish Lions and Wales. In my opinion, this is a better Wales side than they are playing. And critically for Scotland, they're looking to have any success this year. They cannot just leave it as England's enough. Everyone enjoys beating England, but it's not enough now. What we need to see is Scotland progressing, and if they want to take that step forward from being, 1 and 2 wins to 3s, we can then start looking to play, Ireland and France in the big games. They need to get the win in Cardiff. This is a Wales team that Scotland can and should beat this weekend. But they're wounded from their defeat to Ireland, and Scotland have traditionally slipped up against Wales. So, what do we think is going to happen this weekend? So, my official prediction this weekend is Scotland by 8. And of course, this isn't the only game that's happening this weekend. Just before the game at Murrayfield, Ireland are playing France in what many think will be the Grand Slam decider. Now, I have tipped Ireland to win this game, being at home with the momentum. France underperformed versus Italy, but this is an unbelievable France side, and they could turn it on at any moment. This will probably be the game that decides the winner of the Six Nations. My official pick is Ireland by 3 in that match. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had as great a Six Nations debut weekend as we did last weekend. We're also very excited that we'll be going to BT Murrayfield, so we will try and bring you some shots from the game and what it's like on match day and give you a sense of the atmosphere. Okay, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Let me know in the comments what you think, who's going to win, and let me know in the comments what sport you're here for. Drop a B for boxing, a W for weightlifting, and an R for rugby, and we will get round to some boxing weightlifting content soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.